And Jeremy don't act like this. No, Jeremy don't act like this. Yeah. But this dude must have. I don't remember if you grabbed the man arm or you. He got in his face a little bit and was like, "Watch the out, done it." You can bleep those cuss words.
Yeah, I'm gonna bleep those.
But yeah, he said, "Watch the F out, done it." Like start going in, and I was like, first of all, it was sexy because I was like, but then I was also like, you is doing too much because like it was the action. Dude was like, "My bad, bro, my bad." It was a white man, and so it was.
Hey, I probably did.
What's up, everybody? I'm Lex.
I'm Jeremy.
And this is another episode of Ode to Black Love podcast. Y'all already know what I'm about to do. I got to do the housekeeping. Make sure you're liking, following, and subscribing to us on all social media platforms. That's at Ode to Black Love on Instagram and TikTok. Then Ode to Black Love podcast on Facebook and YouTube. Also, as my lovely husband is wearing, we got merch, y'all. We got shirts available. So be sure to head over to odetoblacklove.com to get your shirt. Yes, this is our Retro Love t-shirt that we have available. And then we also have our season 1 t-shirt, one story at a time available. So head on over to odetoblacklove.com and place your order. I think that's it. Is that all the housekeeping?
I think that's all the housekeeping. Just make sure you're checking in on our socials and going to Ode to Black Love.
Yes.
But you know, this is one of our one-off episodes. Like we just kind of
checking in with y'all,
catching up, let y'all know what we got going on.
Yeah,
what's been happening in our life. So I guess we can hop into that. You know, so I guess the biggest news, I don't want to say biggest, but the biggest change for us is that we put Noah into daycare in the past couple weeks.
So if you're new to the channel, Noah is our 2-year-old, he ain't even 2 yet. He is our 1-year-old son who will be 2 in December. And we put him in daycare for the first time in his life last week. Oh, was that last week?
2 weeks now.
About 2 weeks ago, yeah. So that's been a tremendous change in our life.
Good and emotional.
Good and emotional for sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's the first time he has ever been in daycare in his life. So when I had Noah, literally 3 months into me being on maternity leave, so I'm about to go back. The pandemic happened, so my job closed its doors and nobody was working in the office. And so then we transitioned to me going in about once a week, about 6 months after that, I think. And so I was going in to do orientation 1 or 2 times a week, and doing, my job 1 or 2 times a week, and then everything else was remote. So during that time, I transitioned back to work for those few days. My grandma was keeping them. So then when I started full-time back in the office and started my new position, my grandmother was keeping them. Yeah. And so she kept him for about a year. Over a year. Like
over 6 months.
Over 6 months.
Well, I guess she kept him like full-time for that long.
Yeah. She kept him full-time for about 6 months, but she had kept him a few days a week, starting at a few days a week for over a year. And so that was good. I mean, I liked him going to my grandma. It was a little more efficient efficient, whatever the word is. Cost efficient on the pockets.
Yeah.
And then also he was with family. So he was with my cousin's kids. So my grandma kept 3 kids or whatever. Mm. So he was getting a little bit of socialization. But anyway, we moved him to daycare.
That was emotional for Mama. I was happy. I've been excited. I've been wanting to go to daycare for the longest. Get socialized. I don't know. I'm the school parent. I'll probably be checking their grades and stuff like that. I'm probably that
check
parent.
Grades too.
Yeah, but you'll probably be more forgiving.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm that parent. So I'm like, I'm ready for him to get in school. So he can learn all this stuff. So he'll be on the curriculum.
And the cool thing about it though, Noah was learning a lot at home.
Yeah, he's smart. Yeah.
But the difference, we already see the difference that school has on him within the 2 weeks. So school has definitely been a good thing for Noah, but it has also led to some bad things like those germs. Y'all, if you ain't got kids, once you start them in daycare, they just start getting accustomed to those germs. I was talking to somebody, I'm like, it's like the germs jump the kids in. Like when you get started, it's like, okay, we got a new kid on the block, y'all. We got a new kid on the block, and get him.
His nose been running for 2 weeks.
Man, as soon as he started, he had a little nose drip, and then after that, it turned to a little cough, and then he had a fever yesterday. So it was a bit rough. Or it's been a bit rough, and I'm very, very, very much so. My son never gets sick. This was his second fever in his entire life. And so I'm doing better now. Like this sickness, I did so good. But in the past, I just do not do good with my baby being sick because I have anxiety, as y'all know. And so I would let it worry me. So I don't really love that component of daycare, but overall, it's a good experience for Noah. So it's just been an adjustment on our life.
Yeah.
The cool thing I would say about this adjustment on our life is that, like, out of all the adjustments we've had to make, we've handled it the best together.
Yeah.
So
it allows more stuff, more structure.
Yeah.
Because the last 2 months, anyway, her grandmother had got a little sick, so she had me able to watch them. So we were scrambling for childcare for 2 months, essentially. So it's kind of cool to have one place they go
structure,
yeah, and we got that kind of deal. So even though all this other stuff is going on, it's like it's such a load off to know that we can drop them off and pick them up.
And we can get back into a routine because we kind of since my grandma wasn't watching them for a few months there, we kind of got thrown out of a routine. Nothing in our life was just super consistent. So now with him going to daycare, we kind of have some consistency as far as him. Yeah. And so that's been really good. It's been, like I said, it's been worrisome. It caused me a little bit of anxiety, but it's been good. And overall, we happy for Noah and we're excited for his success and all the things he's going to learn. Because that boy is already smart, so he's already picking on so much stuff. And he's in the 2-year-old class. That's why I be thinking he's 2, but he's not quite 2 yet. Yeah. And so he's doing great. But some other things that have been going on I'll start with my work. Work has been going really well for me. I've gotten a lot of exciting news within the past month or so, just about my career and the trajectory of my career. And so that's been great. Like at first, I don't know if I've even shared this, but at first work was a bit rough for me because it was a big learning curve. But now it took me probably about 3-4 months to kind of get my job down. But now I got it and I'm excelling. Yeah, so work has been just going good. Like I said, it took me 3 to 4 months to kind of get the job down. But now that I got it, I'm excelling, y'all. And they see me. And that just feels good. Like
being there killing it. That's all it is.
Yeah, being there killing it, I ain't even gonna go into too many details, but so we just been getting blessed. Like work for me has been great. I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying all the things I'm learning. Like it's just going good. I'm very happy with my success at work.
Yeah, I've been having to go through a few things at my job or my work, whatever you want to call it, as well. I'm kind of a manager or whatever you want to call it.
He's the operations manager.
Yeah. So I've had to take on a little bit more responsibility lately, kind of take control of situations more than just being reactionary or like allowing my, my boss, whatever you want to call it, to kind of like make the decisions.
The owner.
Owner here to make the decisions. And I've been more so kind of stepping in and making big dog decisions, and just kind of just getting stuff done. Yeah.
What I described it to him, because when we had a conversation about kind of the piece that he's taken over, because he's always been the operations manager, but now he's handling more of the employee relations side of things, and so he has to get that leadership,
for sure.
That leadership skills. Like I can lead this, the operations of this company, no doubt. Yeah. But now I'm focusing on leading the people, and so it's been a big adjustment for him. It's been so cool to see from an HR perspective.
Yeah, you gotta have those hard conversations, and it wasn't necessarily something that I signed up for. Yeah. It's just something that I have had to take over a little bit, and it's you gotta have those difficult conversations. But it's fun, kind of like not to sound like power hungry, but to have more control of your destiny. Because a lot of my frustrations lately have been like, I've been wanting to get stuff done, stuff haven't been getting done, that kind of deal. So I've been kind of taking more control over my destiny and just kind of controlling, making sure the ship is running, back smooth and stuff like that. So, it's only been like a week or two with this situation, but I kind of like it. I just feel like, I feel like it's going to be good for me. I feel like I'm learning a lot from it, especially like stuff I can take on in different parts of my life as far as being a leader. I always feel like I'm a leader, but, actually having to apply different leadership skills and manage different people, not just manage, but manage personalities.
Lead people in person.
More so manage personalities and manage people in the style they want. So I didn't mean to get into that like that, but
I think and it's so funny because it totally relates to our topic today. But the piece that he's learning so much is that emotional intelligence that he has to have. So like as a leader, he has to have a high EI, which is emotional intelligence. Yeah. And so he's just kind of learning that. And it's funny because it's just kind of the story of our life here recently. It's just being more emotionally intelligent as it pertains to our relationship, but it's kind of bleeding over into other aspects. So that's been pretty cool. And like I said, from an HR perspective, it's been beautiful to watch because he'll have a situation. And like there was a time where he had a situation, but he didn't have a chance to talk to me. Because for those who don't know, I work in HR. And so he hadn't had a chance to talk to me about it. And so he did it, and then he talked to me about it later. And I was like, dang, okay, baby, you did the steps. Like, this is what I would have encouraged you to do. So he has it innately within himself. So just to kind of see it bleed out and, like, him actually do it and exude these leadership skills and behaviors is, like, pretty dope to watch. Yeah. So
got some of the osmosis. She come home and talk about it all the time.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So but that was cool though. That's cool. So that's kind of like update on work and just kind of home life. I will say back on the home life just real quick. With us getting into this routine, it's just a bit of a like change, and so the last 2 weeks have been a little bit challenging with like setting that routine, like getting comfortable with it. I ain't been working out, y'all. I ain't been eating no meal plan. I ain't did none of that. But
I brought cookies in the house.
Yeah, ice cream. So it's been a little rough because plus we don't have a trainer. Yeah, it's just been a little bit. Yeah. It's been a little rough, but that's okay because it takes a little bit to transition, and I think this week will kind of be the.
I think we get back on the
Absolutely.
By the time you hear this, we should be back on track.
Yeah, and check in if you're not. Comment on this and say, hey, have you worked out? And if we respond no, hold us accountable because that's the goal this week is to start back on that journey. On top of that, though, like that's that's the update for those things, work and home. But we did want to give y'all a little bit of a therapy update.
Yeah.
Because we ain't talked to y'all in a minute, just us two. Yeah. So we are still doing therapy. We still are enjoying our therapist. We've been applying the things we've been learning in therapy.
We actually took 2 weeks off on accident.
We did take 2 weeks off.
But it was good. It was a good 2 weeks. We went back in there and we had a good 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, it was a really good 2 weeks, and it was like, we accidentally aren't. The first time was on purpose because it was a time constraint. But then the second time was like an accident, a miscommunication. But like even those off weeks that we had, we still were able to like communicate with each other and like keep the things that we learned from therapy and like apply them to our life without having to see her those weeks. So that felt really good to kind of like not be in shambles because we wasn't in therapy. I mean, we know we good,
but to really go in there and like. Usually when we were going, we still had like issues through the weeks. We actually had a good few weeks. Like no true like not that we just argue or anything, but it's like dang, we actually had a good
disagreements that we had to work
like
through.
We actually got better.
And I think the cool thing was about that. Sorry, my bad. The cool thing about that was that we went through a major transition, and typically through transitions, we gonna have stuff that we didn't fumbles, like you said. But the cool thing about this one was that we handled it really well, and it just is beautiful to see.
We're doing something right, she doing something right.
The fruit of our work, like we've been putting in work and it paid off when we actually had a big transition. So, so that's kind of just an update on where we are. If y'all have any other questions about kind of what we got going on, y'all know, hit us up. We open books around here. Yeah. So literally we'll get back to you. But we do have a specific thing we wanted to come on here to talk about today. Yeah. And I'm kind of excited about it because I love little stuff like this. At work this past week, so last week, and it was right on time because it was kind of when he was transitioning into taking on the employee relations part of his job. I took my job. I had a training, and it was over something called the 5 Voices. And so what the 5 Voices essentially is a personality test. And this personality test is created essentially, and you take it to find out what your leadership style is. Yeah. So it's like your personality and your leadership style. And so when I took it, I was like, oh, this is great. This is me to a T. Mm-hmm. And anytime I do something that I'm like, I love this. Yeah. Jeremy, take this real quick.
She sent it through. She sent it through. It was, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, it's kind of long. I'm gonna put the link in the description and up on the screen if you wanna take it for yourself. The one she sent me, like 80 questions.
Yeah, no, it's 80 questions.
It's like 80 questions.
But it's good. So it's similar to the Myers-Briggs assessment, if you've heard of that, which talks about your personality type. But this one focuses on like your leadership style. And I mean, it focuses on other areas, but that's kind of the main component, is finding that voice within you. Because all of us are equipped to be good leaders, but we got to figure out what our voices are and how to empower those voices. So anyway, so I went to the training, I took it, and I figured out, what my leadership or what my voices are. And so let me just kind of give you a brief overview. There are 5 voices, obviously, hence the name. Yeah. But the 5 voices are nurturer, creative, guardian, connector, and pioneer. So those are the 5 different voices people have. And everybody has one of those voices within them, but the main focus is the voice order. And so when people refer to their voice, they're referring to their primary voice, but everybody has a piece of all of those voices in them. So it could be, for me, for instance, my last voice in my voice order is guardian. I have a little bit of guardian in me, and I can pull it out when I need to, but it's harder for me to assess the guardian in me, or pull from the guardian in me, but I can't. So that's the same with anybody else. You all have, or everybody has these 5 voices within them, but the order tells you how easy they are and how natural they come. So we'll kind of get into that and what our voices are today. But it was just super exciting to do this little assessment. So like Jeremy said, we'll give y'all the link. Y'all go ahead and take it.
Yeah, let us know what y'all get down in the comments too.
Yeah.
Or message us something. Let us know what y'all get so we can kind of see who all,
and tell us if it's accurate. Tell us about the accuracy for y'all. So I'll go ahead and start. So my voice order is creative, connector, nurturer, pioneer, and guardian. So those are my 5 voices, and those are my voice orders for the 5 voices. So my prominent 3 verses. This ain't no battle, but
kind of is. It's mine versus yours.
No, it ain't no verses. Right. We working in
it's a celebration. That's what they be saying. Regardless.
Anyways, yeah. So my primary 3 voices that I can easily pull from are my creative, connector, and my nurturer. And so those voices say a lot about me. The creative in me looks like my inability to get my thoughts out. So I can think something in my head and have these brilliant ideas, but when I try to communicate them out, it's like, what? And I'm like, I get annoyed and I shut down. Yeah, Jeremy be like, huh? And I'll get annoyed and shut down because I can't properly communicate what I'm thinking. I just can't find the words that I'm looking for. So it comes out blah, and then I'll shut down. Or I may not even say anything at all because I don't really know how to articulate these ideas. The connector in me is the relationships I like to build. So that connector component in me, as much as I am an introvert, I love relationships. I love my friendships. I love my family, and I maintain my relationships as best as I can, especially for my close family members. So I'm the sibling that's gonna call everybody and talk to everybody or text everybody. I don't go too long without texting in the group chat or anything like that. I'm the one who's gonna be talking. When it comes to my close friendships, it may be a little bit of time here and there where we ain't talking, but I try to maintain those relationships and talk to my very close friends weekly at the very least. And so, and then also building relationships. So it's not just about maintaining relationships, but also I like to build relationships. It can be exhausting because, like I said, I have an introvert. So I pour out a lot and I'm like, ooh, okay, ooh, that was a lot of talking. But I actually do enjoy relationships and having new relationships and connecting with new people. Because I'll meet somebody and they'll say, oh yeah, I'm trying to do this. I'm like, oh, well, so-and-so and so-and-so. And I also kind of connecting people together if they on similar trajectories or things like that. Or if I know somebody can help somebody else out, I'm like, oh, I can connect you and so-and-so. And so that's the connector in me. And then we have the nurturer in me. And so the nurturer in me, I think, stems from my childhood. So just wanting to keep the peace and just keep everybody calm and just make sure everybody's okay. And so that's that nurturer component, is just being cognizant of my people and standing up for not necessarily standing up, but just loving my people, making sure they okay. Not necessarily everybody around me, but just the people I really love and care about. I will make sure you're okay. So those are my primary voices. I know I don't have just one. Creative tested first, and that is the order of them. But I find things about me.
Yeah, this whole time she been like, hey, she really is a little bit all over. I'm that.
And I'll go into a little bit of detail about it because in this voices it talks about what triggers you. Like so each voice has triggers, and so although my primary voice when I tested was creative, a lot of my triggers may be more of the connector and nurturer, and then my response maybe looks more like the creative in me and the nurturer, but not the connector. So we'll get into all of that though.
So now we can kind of like talk about mine. I got a nurturer, guardian. Like the other three, I don't really relate to. But I definitely relate to these top two. So like the nurturer is it's kind of not a confrontational person.
Right.
Values relationships, stuff like that. Just kind of want to keep the peace per se, and just make sure like everything kind of goes smooth.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really want any conflict. It's like I don't really want to have any ideas that's just way too controversial or anything like that. It's just like kind of keep the peace, and I really do agree with that. I'm gonna kind of keep. I'm not. I don't ever want to upset the apple cart. But the other part of me is the guardian, and that is very logical.
Yes.
Very logical. So you ask a lot of the questions. So like, I mean, I'll let somebody talk, but like if something don't make sense, I will be like, yo, like that don't really make sense, or like I'm not getting it. Like how she mentioned earlier, like creative, she'd be like saying these ideas, and I'm like, what? Like it doesn't make sense.
You're gonna ask the
I'm gonna ask the questions.
Yes.
Like it's gonna be foolproof before I get done with it. Like I don't know, feel like I'm grilling you, but I'm just asking these questions.
Yes.
You know, just very logical. Like not very risk averse. You know what I'm saying? Very safe. Very well thought out. Most of my decisions.
Yes. Oh yes.
Like I said, that's the main things. Those are my main two. The other three, I'm like pioneers last. Like it was kind of hard to like see it, but like no, I'm not a trailblazer per se. Not on purpose anyway.
Yeah.
Like creative. If you put it in front of me, I could probably figure it out. But I'm not out here creating the newest thing either. But it's just like.
And you don't think like creative, because that's what it is about.
Yeah,
when they talk about the term creative, because for me, I'm like creative. Like I don't feel like very creative, but it's more so about the thought process and the mind set of a creator. Having so many ideas, but not being able to maybe put them all out on paper, or just be able to do them all because you have so many, or not being able to articulate them all. And I think the difference for you is that if it's in front of you, you can definitely figure it out. And if you think about it, you can figure it out. You don't really have that disconnect of like putting it out there. You kind of have that guardian in you to get it out.
But that wasn't my favorite part. I mean, that was cool. Like, okay, y'all got that right. Like that was cool. Like, okay, like I could see those the characteristics in me or whatever. But I think the most interesting thing was your triggers and your weapons.
Yeah.
That was what I felt like was the most interesting.
So the cool thing about this assessment is that like not only does it talk to you about kind of who you are, but it talks about like what may trigger you, and then when you're triggered, what response you have. Yeah. So that's what we're referring to when we say like triggers and weapons, because it's like, okay, this is something that may trigger me, and then this is the weapon I may use when triggered or when these things are violated. So you want to go?
Yeah, I'll tell you, Mom. I ain't like her. She done did the research for days.
Not for days, but yeah.
I'm my phone now. My weapons, my triggers. We'll get to my triggers. I'll put them up too. My triggers are when you feel taken for granted. Like, and that's so true.
That is so true. We dealt with that.
Yeah,
yes.
When you are not heard, that's something I literally had said. Your values are being ignored. I hate that. Like, I went through that at work for sure. And then people you care about are being treated unfairly. So I definitely don't like.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can say stuff to me, but like, don't say nothing to my wife. Like something like that. You get a whole different person.
Yeah.
Like, I definitely don't.
Okay, real quick story about since we're talking about when Jeremy is triggered, y'all. One time we was at the Texas State Fair because we went to the OU Texas game, y'all. We walking out, and y'all know at the fair, because this was 2018? This was before we married. No, it's not even 18. It's like 16, 17.
Yeah, it's
16. 2016, we go to OU Texas. We had tickets to the game.
Yeah, 16.
Yes, yeah. Anyway, so we go. We got tickets to the game. We leaving the game. So OU, I think, won that year.
Yeah, we won.
So we walking out, and like everybody, it's packed.
It's packed. Yeah, it's packed.
And this guy's walking past, and he has a cigarette, and it burns my arm a little bit. So I was like,
Ash said my wife, bro.
So I was like, I said cigarette
not my wife
me.
yet. Anyway.
It was his girlfriend at the time. But I was like, all right, that dude's serious about me. And you know, like when you just say something like, damn, that hurt. Like, not really like, oh, go beat his ass. But you like, oh, that hurt. And Jeremy don't act like this. No, Jeremy don't act like this. Yeah. But this dude must have, I don't remember if you grabbed the man arm or he got in his face a little bit and was like, watch the out. You can bleep those cuss words.
Yeah, I'm gonna bleep those.
But yeah, he said, watch the F out. Like, start going in. And I was like, first of all, it was sexy. Because I was like, but then I was also like, you is doing too much. Because like, it was actually, dude was like, my bad, bro, my bad. It was a white man. And so, it was.
Hey, I probably did say something like that. I probably didn't get too much in his personal space.
No, you did. I remember you said, like, hey, watch out. I'm almost positive you grabbed his arm.
I might have tapped him or something. But, yeah. I mean, he asked him my girl. Like, you know, like, I don't like that. I don't like when people mistreat my people or whatever. I do not like that. Like I said, you can say whatever to me. I don't really care. But yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, so that's just a funny example of like when you mistreat people you care about, he turns. Yeah, he don't like that.
Yeah. So them is my triggers or whatever. So my weapons though is withholding care. So like, you know, whenever I feel like those things are happening to me, will withhold care, and that is something I do. So like even like me and Alexis was just talking about it in therapy on Thursday, a couple of days ago. Whenever we arguing or whatever, like I don't be wanting to be all lovey-dovey all up in the bed. Like sometimes, like it's something I gotta work on, cause like you know, I guess that's withholding care. Like I don't want to like care for you or do things for you
I don't have to do.
Yeah, it's harder for me to do those things when I'm not receiving. I want to say love because we're talking about each other, but receiving those respects or
when he feels triggered.
Yeah, triggered.
And the cool thing about this too, like we're talking about this, but like with it being a voice order, you may like so for instance within our relationship, I would say you withhold care. That's probably like your weapon system. But like in that example,
that work too.
Shoot, well he do it at work too. But in like the example that I gave about, you know, being triggered by that, like he chose a different weapon at that time. And so it's not like, oh, every single time he's going to withhold care in every situation, but those are his triggers. So
I would say, we'll be honest, like past couple months at work, like I feel like I wasn't being heard essentially. And so I was like, I just stopped caring. Like, it's kind of like in my head, like, you don't care, I don't care.
Yeah, that's it.
That's kind of how I get down sometimes.
And when it comes to like the withholding care in a relationship and like kind of what he was mentioning about like if we not eye to eye, he may be like more distant and like not want to, you know, cuddle or be intimate. Whereas to me, on the other hand, I don't care what type of energy we on. Yeah. If I want to have some sex, I want to have some sex. Like my mood does not change. Based on that, like, I mean, it may, but you know, rub me the right way. It's all out the window. And then after we done, we gonna cuddle. And then I may wake up in the morning and be like, I'm still salty with you because X, Y, and Z. But like, that's not necessarily me in our relationship. However, in like friendships and other relationships, since I do have some nurturer in me, I will use that as a weapon of withholding care and like, especially like maybe at work, like not necessarily withholding care, but just like withdrawing, right? Just like, okay, cool. I'm just going to stay in my lane type of situation. So I kind of relate to to his nurturer. Like that's the same thing we both have. Mm-hmm. As for me though, my biggest, triggers. And so, like I said, I'm a creative connector, nurturer. So my triggers more so come from my connector piece. I think the nurturer and the connector pieces both, like all those triggers are definitely, you know, accurate. But I feel the most triggered from my connector piece, which is like people taking credit for my work or people like not giving me my credit. That definitely is a big trigger for me. So my other triggers are people not recognizing the validity of my ideas. Hence, the creator in me can't even get it out, but when I can't get it out and I'm getting, all these questions from a guardian, I get triggered because it's like, bro, these are good ideas. Just let me explain.
You think they are good ideas, yeah?
They all be good ideas. It may not be a good idea right now. Mm-hmm. They be good ideas.
I'm sure. They don't be thought out.
They don't be thought out. They don't be thought out, but the idea is still good.
Yeah. Good brainstorm.
You get on my nerves. But yeah, so and then my other one is when I sense people aren't for me, or I sense people aren't ingenuine, triggered. Like, what is that thing? Why are you being weird to me? Yeah. Like, that's how I be feeling. Like, why are you being weird? Like, I don't like that. And then when people aren't willing to collaborate, like when people want to be all silo, like I'm a very collaborative person, so that's triggering. But then also like the nurture triggers, like the people close to me, when you do something to them, I'm not happy. Like those are triggers to me. Like with Jeremy, my sisters, my family, my mama, all of that. Like those, I get triggered. And so those are my triggers. And then my weapon depends on the relationship, but my weapon comes more from my creative. And then also my nurturer. So like I will withhold care from certain individuals, not in my relationship or my marriage, or even within family. I don't do that. But like I said, that may be something I use more at work.
You got a little bit of everything.
I got a little bit of everything. But then with my creative, that's my big one. And that weapon is my Hulk.
Yeah.
The Hulk in me. So I don't do this at work because obvious reasons. I'm a professional. I work at HR and all that. But at home and in family situations, like I may be cool for the most part or all the time. But as soon as I'm like triggered to this point, I just blow up. And I can get over easily with an apology. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to blow up and I'm going to get loud. I may yell and things like that, or I might get offended. I do withdraw sometimes with family versus like getting, screaming and yelling. But for the most part in our relationship, like I just kind of blow up and then kind of calm back down.
She could get back in the bed and be all laid up and I'd be like, no, I'm good. Bro.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's very rare. It's not like,
and that's
I would say better than when we first got together.
Oh, for sure. So that's the thing about the Hulk. It don't come out a lot, but it's like, okay, you constantly pushing me. This is constantly pissing me off. This is constantly triggering me. So then I blow up. But then after I get it all out, I'm able to calm down. Like you said, I don't do it a lot, but it does happen. And that's the weapon that I use. So that's kind of a breakdown of what our voices are and how that looks. I will say, and I'm going to ask you, first of all, I'll just ask you, were you surprised with anything that I found out about myself doing this personality assessment?
I guess it's not necessarily what you found out. It's just like, kind of like you said, like the words that you use, like creative. Like, I mean, I never taken you for one, but like when you kind of break it down.
I beg your pardon. I can draw.
Come on.
I'm just like.
But like when you kind of break down like kind of some of your attributes and just kind of like how you think, and it's like hard for me to like, I'm very logical. And so it's just like, I don't understand, but that's probably because it's some of that creative in you or whatever, where you kind of like can't get ideas out clear. And for me, I like everything like written down. Like, give me the bullet
black
points,
and white.
Give me how much it costs, how much it's gonna be, how much it's gonna be. Even sometimes when we do these events that we put out, it's like, bro, keep all that how much it's gonna cost, am I gonna make my money back? I just like all the logical stuff, like, but it makes sense, like I said, because even just sometimes when we be going through ideas for the podcast, it'd be like, that's really ambitious. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes like, that's very ambitious. Like, how are we gonna execute that?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm a dreamer.
Par. Yeah, up to par. Or even sometimes I give ideas and she be making like more, and I'd be like, no, like just really.
I'd be like, but let's add.
Yeah, like cut out the extras. Like I'm not even on that. Like it's real simple. So I can see that. Like I'm not necessarily like surprised as far as like what they say your weapon is. I mean, like I said, it's very rare. So like I said in the past, like when we were still in college or whatever, like I could definitely see that. Like there's a lot more of that. But now, I mean, you're pretty chill. I think I rubbed off on you some.
No, I think I just don't use weapons. I use my communication skills.
Yeah, you're the better communicator, I would say, between the two of us, at least right now. At least
right now. You gonna work on it, get better than me?
Yeah.
I'd love to see that. Yeah, seriously, I would.
But yeah, I'm not necessarily surprised. I would ask you, but like, I mean, they nailed me down. Like,
No. I will say when you first heard your results, I was shocked at that nurture. I was shocked at the nurture, and I'll tell you why. Because when I did the assessment at work, when they got to guardian, I was like, oh, this is my husband to a T. Oh my gosh, this is Jeremy Coleman. Because one of the things that they do is just ask questions. And Jeremy asks so many questions like about just like my ideas and just thoughts. And he's going like, you said, make sure, you said bulletproof?
Yeah, bulletproof.
Bulletproof. Yeah, he gonna make sure it's bulletproof versus like me, not so much. And so when I got to the Guardian part, I was like, oh yeah, that's Jeremy. Well, when we got home and his came out as Nurture Guardian, I was like, oh, that don't sound right. Are you sure? And then he started reading the Nurturer. I was like, oh, that is definitely you. And so another component of the voice order is the volume of these different voices. And so I didn't really hit on that. But when you think of these voices, they have a volume, and not a volume in the sense of like this person louder and this person louder as far as projecting their voice, but louder in the sense of like how people perceive them and how people listen to them, if that makes sense. So follow me. So like a nurturer, because they care so much about other people, they don't oftentimes speak up, and when they do, it's easy to overshadow them or to diminish or dismiss their voice with like, oh, another voice like a pioneer or a guardian. It's like, oh yeah, that's cool, people, but let's talk about this. And so it's easy to like kind of shut the nurturer up. And so it was so easy for me not to see the nurturer because his guardian is what speaks out, right? It's what I see more. Like the nice things he does, of course I see, but what I remember more is those, interrogations and things like that. So so it's easy to dismiss that nurturer when you hear that guardian in him because it's a louder voice. And so essentially, as far as the volume of these voices, the nurturer is going to be the most quiet voice, and it's because they're worried about other people. All right, they want to make sure everybody else is taken care of. But then that creative voice is the second most quiet. I guess is quiet is the word.
I don't know. Don't give me the line.
Hey, tell us in the comments if quieter or quietest.
Quietest.
Yeah.
Which one is y'all?
Is it quietest or most quiet?
Most quiet seems safe.
Most quiet definitely seems safe, so we'll go with most quiet. So nurture is the most quiet voice, and then the second most quiet voice is creative, which is my primary voice. But that voice is only quiet because they can't get their thoughts out. So it's like they either focusing on trying to get their thoughts out right, or they get their thoughts out and they don't make sense. So people are like, girl, shut up, that don't make sense. And so so those are the most quiet voices. Then you have the guardian voice. It's the third loudest, and it's only loud because they're going to make sure to ask those questions. Why are we doing this? How are we doing this? What's the plan? You good? Okay, I thought you were about to call. But so, how are we doing this? Why are we doing this? What's the plan? So they're not loud because they have these brilliant ideas, but they're loud because they're going to make sure it's bulletproof. So you're going to hear them because they're going to ask the questions. Then you got the connector person who is the fourth loudest because they're focused on relationships and just connecting people and building trust. So nurturers care about relationships and want to keep the harmony. Connectors care about relationships and want to continue to build those relationships. So they both focus on relationships, but a little bit differently. And then you have the pioneer. And neither one of us really resonate with the pioneer voice at all. Yeah, but the pioneer is going to be the trailblazers. They're going to be real loud. They're going to be like, oh, we should do this and this. And they're going to be intelligent.
When you see one.
Yeah, you'll know a pioneer when you see it because they're going to be this person who's just like trailblazing, just like, oh my gosh, we got to do this, and have the thoughts and ideas to back it and just have those conversations and things like that. So that's what I mean by volume. So it was surprising to hear Jeremy's nurturer because that's the voice I think it is the more.
Because she's taking me for granted, y'all. No, just kidding.
Shut up. No, I don't. I don't take him for granted. But it is easy to like dismiss the nurturer around you because it's like, oh, they're just so kind, and that's it. When their leadership voice means something, or that their voice actually means something. So that's pretty much the 5 voices in a nutshell, and that's our results. But then I guess I want to ask you, how do you feel like after learning this? I shouldn't say learning because it's kind of like what we already knew, because it does align with the Myers-Briggs assessment, essentially. But what do you feel about these results that you learn, like for your personal stuff, or relationship, for work, all of those?
It's another part that I don't think we're going to get into because it got kind of lengthy, but my favorite part about it is how to basically get the most out of your voice.
Yes.
So, like, what order to speak in the room, or how to, get the most
out of it a little bit.
Get the most out of your voice. Let me look real quick.
Okay, I thought you just remember that.
I'll look. Yeah, so like I ain't gonna get into it because it's pretty lengthy, but like it'll get into like what order you can talk about, like what order you should speak in a room, like how to not use your I guess to how to properly use them without them becoming detrimental. Because like as a nurturer on there, it said like you can basically like work yourself to the dirt, and stuff like that, or even just like certain things that I have done in the past. It's like you might get, I don't want to say depressed, but like self-worth becomes like a thing, and so you may feel like a little less self-worth, and essentially like self-sabotage. And I have self-sabotage a lot in the past. Like when you feel overwhelmed, this is what it said. Like when you feel overwhelmed, you tend to like self-sabotage. So like if I'm super stressed or overwhelmed, like I'll kind of blow up everything in my life and start fresh. Like like you know what I'm saying? Like I'll just make it so bad that it can only get better. Kind of deal. So it's like it just give you like ways to like prevent that, like how to recharge your batteries. Like because I can't be social for so long. It just teaches you how to recharge your batteries, because sometimes like you can take care of people so much that you forget to take care of yourself, stuff like that. So it's things that we both knew about me, but just kind of how to take care of. So that's what I say like was my favorite part, or what I got out of it. What about you?
Yeah, so I think I like the part. First of all, I love personality assessments, and I love learning more about me. And so overall, it just felt good to be like, okay, this makes sense as to why I can't always formulate my ideas. And some feedback it gave to me as a creative connector nurturer was to give yourself grace and not judge yourself based on the first things that come out your mouth. Like let it come out and then work through it. And when you're communicating with people, so like for instance, when I'm communicating my ideas to Jeremy about the podcast, I should open up with, hey, I got some ideas about the podcast. They ain't fully ironed out yet, but just let me get them out, and don't judge me based off what I say first. And so that was really good insight, because it's like in those situations, like I said, I'll have these ideas, and then Jeremy's like, but what about this? But what about this? And it feels like an attack, but on the same wavelength, I learned that's his personality. He wants to make sure, because he is risk averse, that this is solid. And so instead of taking that as an attack, more so preparing him like about what's about to happen, and then allowing and welcoming his interrogation, quote unquote, so that I can, make sure these ideas are bulletproof. And if they're not, I got a million of them, so we can go back to the drawing board. And so I love that component of it. I think this personality assessment is one of my most favorites, mainly because me and Jeremy have started working together, right? So it's like not only do I have work at work, we got work at home with the podcast. And so I have a part of the podcast that I lead. He has a part of the podcast that he leads. And so trying to be the best leaders together for the podcast is pretty cool. And so doing this assessment kind of helps us learn how to just communicate our different leadership styles, and like kind of know how to work together on a working level with the podcast, but then also relational. And then of course at work, it's definitely helpful. So that's what I enjoy, and that's kind of how I felt about it. As far as takeaways, I kind of mentioned it already. I think my takeaways personally from this assessment is just how to communicate better with you. I think when it comes to a relationship, but mainly when it comes to the podcast, right? So like, we both know my ideas be like, wow, but then we can kind of like break them down. And so maybe like introducing a space for us to do that. So like, okay, brainstorm session. I got all these ideas. Let's go through them. And like, this is what this space is. Not when I just want to bring an idea to you like, oh, baby, guess what I think? And then you be like, but what about this? And I'm like, never mind then. And it's like, no.
Will. So I'm like, what? I asked a question. It was a genuine question.
Or he'll ask a few, and I'm like, okay, I didn't think about it. I'll get back to you later. Never get back to him. But now we can maybe create a space where that's literally what we do, kind of earn out my ideas, and he gets to play devil's advocate to kind of make sure it is bulletproof. So I think that's my biggest takeaway from the podcast, or I'll go back. I think that's my biggest takeaway from the 5 voices. Like I said, I really enjoyed it, especially because it talks about your triggers. And
I feel like every time we take these, like we realize like how, I don't want to say not alike we are, but I guess say how balanced we are. Like
yes, absolutely.
We totally value different stuff. Not that our values as a whole is different, but like we definitely balance each other out. That's why I think maybe this podcast, we can work because like
work together. Because
like the things that you value are a little different.
Yeah.
And so we're able to pick each other up and stuff like that in different areas.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I really enjoyed the 5 voices assessment. If y'all take it, like he said, the link will be in the description below. Let us know your results. Let us know if you even like it. Like I said, we both done the Myers-Briggs assessment, and it essentially aligns with this, but this is more of like the leadership voice and things, so it's a little bit different. We also did love language. So like literally, I love these. So if you know of another assessment that's free, because this one's free. Yeah, free. We ain't paying for nothing right now. Let us know, drop it in the comments or DM us about it. But yeah, if you decide to take this, let us know how it impacts you and your relationship. If it's accurate, we want to talk about it. That was the main reason for today's episode, is just to kind of get back in front of the camera, talk to y'all about what's going on with us, but also have more of an engagement with y'all. So if y'all take it, definitely let us know. We want to talk about this.
Below. Let us know what y'all got.
May even get on live one day. And if you took the test, get on there and we'll share our screen and just talk about it. Like, we want to engage with y'all a lot more. So I think that's all I got for the 5 voices. What you think?
Yeah, that's all I got on the 5 voices. Like I said, it's so many combinations and stuff like that. So I'm just intrigued to see what all y'all got and how y'all kind of maneuver, or if y'all even feel like it's accurate.
Yeah.
Because I feel like whenever we do these, like I said, it kind of bring us a little closer, give us a little more understanding of our partner. So like, take it, see if it's even, close. If you agree, disagree, comment below. Say, hey, mine was way off.
Yeah. And it's 80 questions, but it's just like other personality assessments, so they easy questions.
Multiple choice. Yeah.
It's like the strongly agree, don't agree, or neutral. Like it's all of that. So yeah, let us know what y'all think. That's really all we had today. If y'all have any questions about anything we got going on, feel free to reach out to us at info@otobblacklove.com. Or if you just want to talk, tell us how great we're doing. If you just have a question, literally email us or DM us.
We really want to, get in touch with y'all. We really want to connect.
We want to engage a little bit more. We want to engage. So if y'all have any ideas on how we can engage, let us know that too. We are planning some events for the fall and in the winter. So just feel free to support us in those once we announce them. Any other updates, baby? Like we mentioned before, I'm going to always say until I turn blue.
Shirts we got available. Shirts. We're gonna be putting together some content. So like, if y'all are interested, like she said, info@otobblacklove. Like I said,
and when we say, go ahead. I'm so sorry, baby.
No, you good.
And when we say content, we mean a little different than episodes. So if you're interested in being featured in some of our exclusive content and some of our special content, feel free to DM us or email us. And you don't have to be in a relationship. You can be by yourself. You can have a friend, you can have a parent, whatever the case may be. We want to feature different types of relationships, Black relationships, on some of this content we're creating. So let us know.
So hit us up. That's what we've been saying this last
That's all we're trying to say is hit us up. We want to talk, y'all.
We love feedback.
We love feedback. We love talking to y'all. We love engagement. So I think that's it, baby.
That's all I got.
Okay, baby. That's all I got. I love you.
Right.
Oh yeah. Wait.
I love you too.
He's trying to get out of here without telling his. Yeah. Now, okay. So let's go on and end with something. Some
affirmations.
Some affirmations about it too.
All right. I love you, baby. You're sexy. You're a great mom.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm blushing.
So
thank you.
I wouldn't do this. We'd be up here not wasting.
Spending
all this time together. Yeah. So I love you. I wouldn't do it with nobody else.
All right, we'll let that right now. I'm just playing. Well, I love you. You are fine as hell. This beard. Aunties and mamas, mute your ears. The sex yesterday was A1. I mean, come on. Give yourself a pat on the back. No, but for real though, you are an amazing father. You are the most loving husband. And like you said, I wouldn't be doing this with anybody else. You are great. You are awesome. And even though you're a guardian and you're going to make sure your stuff is bulletproof, we need that because I'm not. And this shit would be in the ground. No, I was like, not in the ground, but yeah. No. I'll be rolling out some trash ass I did. Y'all be like, what is Ode to Black Love doing?
No, we're going to balance each other out.
It's balanced. But yeah, now that we did our affirmations, we'll go ahead and let that ride, y'all.